Wired dropped a bombshell of a report and it's making the rounds on journalistic sites and YouTube. The basic premise? Apple trained AI models on YouTube content without consent. And that headline is basically true, sort of. As it turns out, Apple, Salesforce, and a bunch of other companies bought a data training set from another company that scraped subtitle files from nearly 200,000 videos without consent. So today, we're going to get into, is that theft? And even if it is, does it matter? Because, spoiler alert, it does. This research originally comes from an outlet called Proof News, and they dug into a data training set from a nonprofit called Eleuther AI. That nonprofit compiled the subtitle files from over 170,000 YouTube videos across some of the biggest names on the site, including Mr. Beast, MKBHD, John Oliver, and more. The company then sold that data to Apple, Salesforce, Nvidia, and other companies which used these data sets to train their AI. So at this point, I could note that what the nonprofit did is against YouTube's terms of service. The TOS prohibits accessing YouTube's videos by automated means, and scraping in general. But I think some of you would fairly note that actually Google is doing the same thing to train its AI and has adjusted the TOS to allow it to do so. So let's set aside the question of YouTube's terms of service for a second and get into creator consent, because a comment on an MKBHD short on this subject caught my eye. It said, "I have a question. Free, publicly available content such as YouTube's videos can be used to teach individual new skills, enabling them to generate income. However, when this same free, publicly available content is utilized to train AI models for commercial purposes, it's viewed as problematic. I want to know why using publicly available data for AI training is perceived as unethical, especially when the content is intended for public consumption and can benefit individuals." And that's a sentiment I've seen posted a lot. It's on the internet, so it's freely available, and you agreed to it, and how is it different than a human learning an instrument from a YouTube video? Let's dig into that last one, because that's the analogy where I think this all breaks down. And remember, an analogy doesn't have to be perfect one-to-one description of something, it just needs to get a concept across, so no nitpicking on this. Let's imagine for a moment if my channel was a YouTube music lesson channel, and you watched my videos, and you learned an instrument, formed a band, created original content of your own, and made money. Can I complain that I'm owed something? Of course not. You benefited from the specific service I offered, music lessons, and that created something new thanks to that knowledge. If afterwards your band continued creating original songs and published them on YouTube to make money, and I come along, took your songs, jumbled stuff just slightly, but didn't create anything new, just a slightly changed version of your music, and sold them to someone else as original creations, are you going to say to yourself, that's fine, I put original music on YouTube so anybody else could make money off of it? Of course not. And therein lies the difference, especially since not every YouTube video is a teaching video. AI isn't watching a YouTube woodworking channel and using that knowledge and plans it paid for to create a new cabinet and then selling it. It's stealing the plans and selling those plans to other people. And at the end of the day, AI isn't even learning anything at all. At its most basic level, AI is a pattern machine. It looks at a lot of sentences and learns to follow patterns of how words seem to go together frequently. But it doesn't understand why those words go together. Let's make this analogy a little more literal. Over on the MKBHD channel, Mark has already covered this topic briefly, and even got into how in his mind it's a double theft, because he pays to have his subtitles transcribed by hand. Now, I'm a much smaller channel, though hey, if you subscribe right now, you could help with that. And I've clearly been inspired by that video. But what I'm creating in my video is original. I've covered parts of the topic he didn't, spent more time on this than he did in his short, brought in new words, wrote my own script, and brought my own knowledge gained from other sources to this. It's completely different. For that matter, it'd be fair to say that I've been inspired by the MKBHD channel, and others like it, to create this tech news and reviews channel. But I bring my own style, techniques, thoughts, opinions, and original scripts. But think about this. If I named my channel MCBJD, and every video I published came 2 days after his, and the script followed his video nearly word for word with just a thing or two changed here and there, you'd probably call me a thief, right? You'd say I'm stealing his content, and rightly so. That's what AI does, and that's what it's doing here. Just posting your content on the internet doesn't mean you've given permission for companies to scrape your data. First off, the internet and YouTube existed long before AI in its modern form, so how could you have intended permission at the time? And second, that's like saying, well, you knew that sometimes people get robbed, so you've given permission to have your wallet taken when you leave the home. Just because you know there's a possibility of someone doing something wrong doesn't mean you're giving them permission by existing. And you know that's true because companies like this can ask for permission. They can pay for the rights to your data. And instead, they're going the ask forgiveness route. Finally, let me put it this way. If tomorrow I went to one of Apple's YouTube commercials and I downloaded it and then recreated it in full, complete with similar music, graphics, and just changed the name of the product to Apple MacBook and I tried to sell it, don't you think Apple would sue me? Do you really think they would be wrong to sue me, even though it was freely available on the internet? And yet that's exactly what they're doing and they say it's okay. This is a complicated subject, but at the end of the day, if you enjoy having free YouTube videos, one thing is clear. If we allow AI to steal content with no compensation, then ultimately one of the main incentives to create, well, anything will be nullified, and the world will be a duller place for it. What do you think? Leave a comment below. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe. I've got more tech news and reviews like this coming, including this phone and this very repairable laptop. Until next time, bye!